The weirdos, the many weirdos who tried to help Donald Trump overthrow the election, are in major legal and financial trouble. Trump is refusing to help Rudy Giuliani pay his legal bills, and MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell, who's also been sued for defamation, had yet another meltdown at a so-called cyber symposium. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. Before we get to all that, the big news in politics right now, of course, is the resignation of New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, who's slinking away in disgrace after a long run as one of the most corrupt and cynical bullies in politics, not to mention the host of the weirdest kids show in history.
Today is Saturday.
Thank you. Terrifying man. You know, it's hard to soothe the soul of a nation when you sound like Chaz Palminteri's stuntman. Anyway, a report by the Attorney General found that Cuomo sexually harassed 11 women. And let's not forget his administration also covered up the COVID death toll in nursing home. It's got to be the worst thing he's covered up since his nipples. I guess they also knew how bad things were and they were trying to get the hell out of there. These things are like porcupine quills. They attack when they're threatened. Seriously, when even your nipples are trying to escape, you know you're in a bad place. Maybe that's why he started wearing a blanket like he was just rescued from the Miracle on the Hudson. Look at him. Is he trying to pull a Mrs. Doubtfire? I wouldn't be surprised if Cuomo pretended to be the British nanny so he could hang around after he resigns. He just has to make sure he doesn't also take his fake name from the front page of the newspaper. Oh, hello, my name is Mrs. Andrew Cuomo. Oh, no, wait, I mean it's Mrs. Disgraced Governor. Oh, dear, don't mind the nipples. They're just frightened. And when he announced his resignation yesterday, Cuomo tried to explain away his actions by claiming he didn't realize he was doing anything wrong.
In my mind, I've never crossed the line with anyone. But I didn't realize the extent to which the line has been redrawn.
First of all, that's such a ridiculous excuse. You're telling us you didn't know what you were doing was wrong? What's next? You're going to tell us you didn't know what day it was? You don't get to blame the line for moving when you're the one who crossed it. Although I will say, if you live in New York, you've probably heard that before. Cuomo sounds like he's trying to talk a traffic cop out of giving him a ticket for parking in a fire lane. I swear, when I parked, the line was over here. Now you're telling me it's over here? Come you breaking my balls? It's a very George Costanza way of excusing your behavior. The line, Jerry, it moved. They moved the line. Oh, it moved, baby. And it turned out I crossed it. You know what this means? You're a line crosser. Lines here, lines there. I'm crossing lines all over the place. Have I got a line for you? Well, get in line. I was with Putty last night, and he used the line. He used the line. I thought using the line crossed the line. Not my line. Now that's where I draw the line. That camp was worth every penny. So obviously, this is not how Andrew Cuomo planned to end his political career. He was once the most dominant, ruthless, most Machiavellian force in New York politics. Now he's just the latest in a long line of disgraced New York politicians who will inevitably get photographed by the New York Post with a long, scruffy beard and a Mets hat, sloppily eating a dollar slice on a bench in Central Park by himself. Central Park has a bench specifically for that. If only there were a way to, I don't know, lift his spirits. Perhaps a pep talk from someone who knows what he's going through.
Hi, it's Rudy Giuliani, and I'm on Cameo. If there's an issue of concern that you want to discuss, or a story you'd like to hear or share with me, or a greeting that I can bring to someone that would bring happiness to their day, I would be delighted to do it. It can be arranged, and we can talk through the magic of Cameo. Thank you.
No, Rudy. Thank you. I guess Rudy's last Cameo went so well, he decided to give it another go. For an extra $50, I'll tuck in my shirt. Also, where is he? Did he film that in IKEA showroom? Why does everything look so chintzy? Reminds me of action films from the 80s where the characters would be arguing in front of a set of shelves that look so cheap, you'd think, oh, someone's definitely getting thrown into those. Oh, Rudy. Sweet, sweet Rudy. He has no idea what he's in for. Right now, a prosecutor in the Southern District of New York is logging on to Cameo and asking Rudy to share the story of the time he went to Ukraine to dig up dirt on a political opponent to interfere in a presidential election. This message is for Mr. DOJ. I hear you're feeling discouraged at work. Well, let me tell you about the time my friend Don and I cooked up a scheme to extort a foreign government and got away with it. It says here you want me to read you my text messages and your emails. Oh, hold on, someone's banging at the door. Why are you yelling police? There's no police in here. Now, Rudy is charging $275 per video, but if you just wait a while, he'll eventually butt dial you for free. I mean, this guy who is a personal lawyer to the president of the United States, and now he's basically panhandling in the same place you can get a happy bat mitzvah message from Jamie Farr. Does that count as a MASH reference? You let us know. Now, I will say, it took a lot of self-control on our part not to buy a cameo from Rudy, because ultimately, even if you're doing it as a joke, Rudy's still getting the money. It's not like it's joke money. I mean, Pizza Rat doesn't care if the pizza's 3 days old. He's just happy he found something to eat, especially something on brand. Plus, we don't have $275 to throw away on a dumb cameo from Rudy because we have to keep paying Wally for all his lines. In fact, Wally's so famous now, he's doing his own cameos.
Hey, this message is for Rudy G. Keep going and don't let any of those lame talk show hosts get you down, buddy.
You're very good at it, Wally. You're very good.
Thank you.
And any money Rudy makes from this will presumably go toward paying the legal bills he's racked up from trying to dig up dirt on Joe Biden and trying to overthrow the results of the election, in part because his former client, the guy he did all that dirty work for, Donald Trump, refuses to help him. The Daily Beast reported this week that even as Rudy Giuliani's legal bills have piled up in recent months, Trump has consistently ignored or rejected Giuliani's pleas for assistance. In many cases, Giuliani's former Trump world comrades have declined to even acknowledge the existence of his legal defense fund, which has struggled to raise much of anything from the public. Wow, they're not even acknowledging that it exists. Rudy's closest friends are all treating him the way you treat your coworker when you both get on the subway at the same time, and you realize if you start a conversation now, you're going to have to sustain it for the next 45 minutes. In those situations, I just close my eyes or pretend I'm asleep. No wonder Rudy's doing cameos. Soon he's going to have to pawn off his precious belongings. This is a Yankees World Series trophy. Sir, that's a Yankee candle. Oh, Rudy, you've done it again! And I'm betting an acknowledgement from Trump would help, because I have to say, I follow Rudy News pretty closely. I had no idea he had a legal defense fund. At this point, I'm willing to bet even Rudy's neighbors have no idea he has one. And I'm just spitballing here, and it's a big if he lived across the hall from a guy, I don't know, eating a bagel in the Yankees hat, that guy might say, oh, so Rudy needs money, huh? That makes sense. Because, yeah, the other day I saw him trying to stuff Camel Cash into a parking meter. Yeah, he filmed the whole thing on Cameo. Hey, you believe this Yankees bullpen? How many saves can you blow in one game? Was it? I know my robe's open. It's a free country. Rudy and his allies have apparently tried to get Trump to help, either by giving money to Rudy's legal defense fund or at least drawing attention to it, but Trump has refused. According to 3 sources familiar with the matter, there have been several fruitless attempts this year by Giuliani's camp to convince Trump to swoop in and provide significant financial support and other forms of assistance to Giuliani. There have been times when I've asked people in the former president's orbit to see if Trump wanted to draw attention to the fundraising, said an ally and longtime associate of the former New York City mayor. That went nowhere. I mean, were you surprised? Trump's only drawn to people who project strength and confidence. Meanwhile, if Rudy had his own cologne, it would be called Flop Sweat. Trump would never help someone like that, even though Rudy is facing a mountain of legal bills because he did Trump's dirty work. Among his many other legal problems, Rudy is also being sued for defamation by the election technology firm Dominion, the same company that's also suing MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell for spreading insane lies about the election. Lindell, you might recall, is so crazy he got kicked out of a meeting of the Republican Governors Association, and at an event yesterday that he billed as a cyber symposium. Lindell spent a considerate amount of time complaining about how he got kicked out of that meeting.
If y'all remember, I got kicked out of the Republican Governors Convention because Doug Ducey and Brian Kemp were afraid I would talk to him. I was invited there. Now we're going to talk about the terrible media. I was invited to that convention. Here's the real story behind it. I get down there. I got my things. We're all going to head to the governor's mansion. And the guy comes up to me, he goes, Mike, you've been kicked out. And he goes, you've been uninvited. I said, what do you mean? He goes, it's something to do with Brian Kemp and Doug Ducey. Well, and I said, the whole event? He said, yeah, the whole event.
Everything about that is perfect. I especially love that he wanted to clarify if he'd been kicked out of the whole event. as opposed to just getting kicked out of part of it. And I bet that's not the first time it happened. I once got kicked out in a quiet car on Amtrak and said, can I go to a regular car? And they said, you got to go to the loud car. And then they opened the door and they pushed me out of the train. But I just hit the tracks and I bounced right back up. Also, in what way was this a cyber symposium? From what I can tell, he spent a lot of the time complaining about getting kicked out of other events. Imagine going to see a man who admits this is the only room he's been allowed to stay in, and then imagine if he was also asked to leave that room and then refused.
They attacked me. They buried it. You think about that.
But they got something they want to show you off stage here.
Okay, I guess we have something off stage. So we're live streaming now. So you want to talk?
Well, I think we're set up for a break, and then maybe we're going to talk a little bit right when we get back there. We're going to go into...
No, we're not going on a break. Put up that movie again. Run the movie. There's no breaks. We're streaming 72 hours live streaming. So around the world, this never stops. You guys can go eat. That's fine. But I ain't eating. I'm staying up here for 72 hours before they ruin our signal.
Amazing. First, he got kicked out of the Republican Governors Convention, and then they tried to drag him out of his own cyber symposium. Next, they're going to kick him off the board of MyPillow. Mike, we're just not sure a guy who says he's going to stay up and live stream for 3 days straight without breaks is a guy you want to buy a pillow from. I can't sleep anyway. My pillow is filled with fire ants and broken glass. Now let me get out there so I can talk about Cyber. Run the movie, The Blues Brothers. Also, real slick move there by the other guy to try to get him off stage. We got something to show you. Were they trying to lure him under a box held up by a stick like in Looney Tunes? Come on, Mike. Mike, come here. Oh, look, Mike. We got something very special over here to show you. Come on, Mike. Come here. Quick. Quick, throw the tarp on him. Strap him down. Keep your hands away from his mouth. He will bite you. This has been a week of consequences for some of the most corrupt people in politics. In Cuomo's case, he's slinking away in disgrace after facing a reckoning for his years of harassment, bullying, and ruthlessness. And for Rudy and Lindell, they're finding out what happens when you debase and humiliate yourself in service of a man who never returns any loyalty to the people he demands it from. Every day, they embarrass themselves and suffer new indignities on Trump's behalf. At this point, Trump could order Rudy to streak naked across the field at Yankee Stadium, and Rudy would say,
I would be delighted to do it. It can be arranged, and we can talk.
This has been A Closer Look. God's Love We Deliver cooks and brings over 2 million meals a year to men, women, and children living with HIV, AIDS, cancer, and other serious illnesses, and they need your help now more than ever. If you're watching this online, you can hit the donate button. Stay safe, get vaccinated. We love you.